Hello my scholars, welcome to my school YouTube channel. My name is Emmanuel and in today's video we'll be tackling JAMB CBT past questions in biology for the year 2024. Please don't go anywhere, stick around and we'll be right back. Yeah, welcome back. In today's video, we'll be tackling question 76 to 100. Now, let's get down to question 76. How many chromosomes will be present in a gamete if the somatic cell has 8 chromosomes? Usually, when we talk about the somatic cells are cells that are produced during the mitotic cell division. You know, we have two cell divisions. We have the mitosis and then we have the meiosis. Okay, meiosis has to do with the production of the what? Of the body cells, while meiosis has to do with the production of the what? The somatic cells that are also called the body cells. Somatic cells are body cells, okay, from mitosis, while meiosis are produced from what? That produce the what? The sex gametes, okay, the sex reproductive gametes are from meiosis. Now we're talking about the somatic cells. Now generally the somatic cells usually they have, you know, pair. They have a pair. We call them diploids. Okay, when we say diploid, they comprises two sets of chromosomes, one from the father and the second one from the mother. And usually the gametes are half of what the somatic cells usually will produce. Now, if the somatic cell has 8 chromosomes and then the gamete, we are asked that how many chromosomes will be present in the gamete. The gamete is usually half of what? The chromosomes of the somatic cell. So which means that half of these somatic cells, of course, of 8 will be 4. So which means that 2 times 4 will give us 8. So in other words, the number of chromosomes that will be present in the gamete if the somatic cell has 8 chromosomes will be 4. Half of what the somatic cell is. Option A says 16, option B 6, option C 4, option D 8. So the correct answer is option C. Question number 77. We have a diagram here. We have parents, okay. The parents, maybe the father has AS and then the mother has also AS, okay. Then if the gametes during crossing, okay, we have A and A crossing together. Of course, we divide them into gametes. A and S separate and A and S. So by the time we cross A and A, we have AA. At the end of the crossing, we have AS, and SS. Okay, I'll just write that on the board. We have, at the end of the crossing, we have AA, we have AS, we have AS, and then we have SS. Okay, so the question says, we should use that diagram to answer the question. And the question says, what is the genotypic ratio of the offspring produced in the first filial generation, F1 generation, first filial generation? So it means that when we talk about genotypic ratio, there are usually two ratios that we talk about, okay, when it comes to crossing. We have the genotypic ratio, we have the phenotypic ratio from phenotype, and then the genotypic ratio from genotype, okay? When we talk about the phenotypic ratio, we'll be talking about the traits, okay, that can be seen, that are clearly seen, whether it is dominant or whether it is recessive. It must be there, okay? So all the number of traits that can appear, that are dominant, that we can see, okay, are the phenotypic ratio. But when we talk about the genotypic ratio, we'll be talking about the ratio of each of the expressed. Like we talk about the one that is dominant, we talk about the one that is recessive, and then we talk about the dominant of the different types. What do I mean? Let's look at the phenotype. When we say the phenotypic ratio, okay, the phenotypic ratio for this will be that we have A here, we can see the blood group, the genotype A here, A here, A here. So you have A appearing in about 3 places, even though here it is dominant, okay, it's dominant and dominant here, okay. For here, we call this one is homozygous because we have the same homozygous AA, then we have homozygous SS here, but with this one we have heterozygous, but A is dominant, A is also dominant, it's heterozygous. So how many ones do we have that we have A in? We have 1, 2, 3, so that would be ratio 3 is to this one does not have any A with it, will be ratio 1. So the phenotypic ratio for this will be 3:1. But genotypic ratio from genotype, genotypic ratio will be, how many homozygous A do we have? We have just one of that. So that will be, we have one AA, then we have AS, 2 of them. So we have 2 AS. Then we have another homozygous S, that is 1 SS. So in other words, we are saying it is ratio 1:2:1. So we have this ratio for genotypic ratio, and then phenotypic ratio is 3:1. So the question says that what is the genotypic ratio of the offspring produced in the first large generation genotypic ratio? So our concern is with this, not with this. So let's look at the option. Option 1 say, option A says ratio 2:1:1. No. Option B says 1:2:1. Yes. Option C says 2:2. No. Option D says 3:1. 3:1 is the phenotypic ratio. So the correct answer here is option B, ratio 1:2:1. Now question 78. Body temperature, thirst, and hunger are regulated by what? We have thalamus, we have hypothalamus, we have medulla oblongata, we have the spinal cord. The thalamus actually is the part of the brain that is responsible for alertness. Someone is conscious, something is happening around you, you are conscious about it, okay? You are conscious, you are alert, okay? Learning, someone is learning. The memory, okay? Someone is able to learn and keep, whether short memory or long memory. The thalamus is actually the part of the brain that is responsible for that, not for this. Now, hypothalamus, of course, they sounded. So, hypothalamus is also found in the brain, okay? But it is what is responsible. Someone is feeling cold, someone is feeling hot, that's for the temperature. It is the hypothalamus that controls that. Someone is feeling thirsty. Oh, I feel like taking some water. I feel like, taking water, or I've taken, it is the hypothalamus that is responsible for that. Or someone is feeling famished. Oh, I'm hungry. I feel like taking something. Hypothalamus is the part of the brain that is responsible, that communicates to you that, oh, something is wrong, you need to take in some water or food. So hypothalamus is actually responsible for that. Medulla oblongata, it's the part of the brain, of course, also in the brain, that is responsible for the heartbeat, okay? The breathing rate, the heartbeat rate, of course, the blood pressure, okay, in the body. It is the medulla oblongata that is actually responsible for that. Some students think that it is what is responsible for learning and keeping of memory. No, medulla oblongata, it is thalamus that is responsible for that, okay? So medulla oblongata, what it does is to regulate the blood, the breathing rate, okay? The bleeding rate, the blood rate, the heartbeat rate, okay, is coordinated by the what? Medulla oblongata. And finally, spinal cord is actually responsible for transmitting impulses from the brain to other parts of the body and from the sense organs to the brain, okay? It communicates what that is. So that's what the spinal cord. So the question says body temperature, thirst, and hunger are regulated not by thalamus, not by medulla oblongata, not by spinal cord, but by hypothalamus. So the correct answer is option B. Question number 79. Cell division that involves the growth, development, repairs, and replacement of worn-out tissue is referred to as what? We have biosynthesis, we have mitosis, we have meiosis, we have synthesis. Okay, synthesis, biosynthesis, of course, they are alike. The only difference between them is both of them are processes that have to do with what? The production of larger compounds, okay, from smaller ones or more elementary ones. But this one usually takes place in living organisms, okay? That's how we have it as what? Biosynthesis. So it is not option A, it is not option D. Both of them are actually nullified. They are eliminated. So we are left with mitosis and meiosis. Now, mitosis is a cell division, like I said earlier on in one of the questions, that mitosis is a cell division that regulates the growth, that is responsible for development of body cells, what we call the somatic cells. It's also responsible for the repairs of the worn-out tissues and replacement of the worn-out tissues in the body of living organism. It is mitosis that is responsible. For meiosis, meiosis is the cell division that involves the production of the sex hormones, what we talk about, the sex organs, okay, the sex cell, or what we call the gametes, okay. So in other words, mitosis is responsible for growth and development of the cells, and then the worn-out tissues are actually replaced and then they are repaired, okay, in the process of mitosis, okay. But meiosis is the cell division that involves the production of reproductive cells or reproductive organ, whether the male or the female organ, okay, that we have in the body, or we call them the sex cell or the gamete. So the question says now, cell division that involves the growth, development, repairs, and replacement of worn-out tissue is not biosynthesis, it is not synthesis, it's not meiosis, but mitosis. So the correct answer is option B. Now let's move on to question number 80. We have a diagram here, the cell, we have tissue, we have organ. This is a system. Of course, this is what we call the organization of life, okay? Organization of life. Life begins with cell, which is the basic unit of life. We have the tissues, group of cells, okay? Similar cells, okay, having the same function, give rise to tissue. Tissue, we have similar cells, okay, tissues, okay, having functions, giving rise to organs. Organs gives us what? System. When we have group of them, system, then the system gives us what? The human, okay, like living organism, okay. So use the diagram to answer the question that follows. The flower of plants belong to part labeled what? Is it labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4? We must know that the flower is the reproductive organ of plants, okay. The reproductive organ of plants are flowers. So whether they are male, whether they are female, they are the what? The flower. That's why we talk about pollination taking place there. So if the reproductive organ of plants are flowers, okay, so it means that flower is actually an organ. So it is not a cell, it is not tissue, it is organ. So Roman figure 3. So the correct answer here is option C, Roman figure 3. Question number 81. The bacteria in the large intestine of man synthesizes what? Okay, we must realize that in the large intestine we have bacteria, okay, that are in there. We talk about the bacilli, we talk about the lactobacilli, okay, that has to break down milk. We have lactobacilli, we talk about the streptococci, we have some of them present in the large intestine, okay, of man. So the question says the bacteria in the large intestine of man synthesizing what? Usually the bacteria have the power, they have the potential to do what? To synthesize vitamin B and vitamin K. Those are the two vitamins that are synthesized by bacteria in the large intestine of man, vitamin B and vitamin K. And we know that vitamin K is what enhances blood clotting and stops excessive bleeding, okay, when there are injuries, vitamin K. So the bacteria helps in synthesizing vitamins. Bacteria will not synthesize glucose. Bacteria will not synthesize minerals. No, even though they can, get engaged in the processes that might want to, but they are not involved in the synthesis of glucose. They are not involved in the synthesis of minerals, okay. So since we know that, but they can also help in the synthesis of amino acids, okay, that are gotten from protein. So we have bacteria, acting and synthesizing, proteinous food. When we talk about that, we talk about the amino acid, of course. So we look at option A, says that vitamins and minerals. Of course, bacteria in the large intestine of man can synthesize vitamins, but not minerals. So option A is eliminated. Option B says vitamins and glucose. Yes, vitamin is correct, but bacteria in the large intestine of man will not synthesize what? Glucose in man. So option B is also eliminated. Option C says amino acids, yes, for protein, and vitamins, yes, they synthesize amino acids and can also synthesize vitamins. So this is correct. Option D says amino acids and minerals. Amino acid is correct, but minerals make this option also to be nullified. So this is not correct. So the correct answer here is option C, amino acids and vitamins. And let's move on to question number 82. The main excretory product of earthworm is what? The main excretory product of earthworm is what? When we talk about excretory products of earthworm, usually we have urea, we have ammonia, we have creatinine, okay, and other nitrogenous compounds are present in the excretory product of earthworm. But we are talking about the main, okay, the major. Now when we talk about ammonia, yes, is part of the excretory product of earthworm, but it has about 20 to 40%, okay, in terms of the quantity that we have that is, excreted by earthworm. Okay, carbon dioxide, of course, this one is an excretory product in man. We breathe out carbon dioxide, okay, and then we breathe in. But if we are talking about excretory products, okay, usually carbon dioxide is an excretory product in plants. Okay, so this is, of course, this is nullified. This is not part of it. Then we talk about urea. Yes, urea is the major because it has about 50%, okay, in the excretory product. See, 50% of urea is what? Excreted by earthworm. And then we have uric acid. Uric acid, we find uric acid as the excretory product in birds, in reptiles. Okay, so birds and reptiles are not earthworms, so this is also eliminated. So the answer now is between option A and option C. Option A, ammonia is about 20 to 40%, while urea is about 50%. So of course, the question says the main excretory product. So the one that has the higher percentage will be considered the correct answer. So the correct answer is urea. Option C is the correct answer. Question 83. Which of the following conditions causes estivation in animals? Estivation. Now, what is estivation? You must know that. Estivation is a process whereby an organism or an animal shuts down. When we say shuts down, reduces the activities it carries on. It carries out. The metabolic activity, it just goes down. Usually, when there's scarcity of water, when there's scarcity of food, it just shuts down a bit in order to retain the energy that it has and to conserve the amount of energy that it has so that it can keep on surviving and adapting in that situation. And usually, when we talk about estivation, it's brought about when there is a dry weather condition, okay? When there is dryness, there is hotness, okay? Temperature, that is when estivation actually occurs. The opposite of estivation, or one that is similar to this estivation, is hibernation. Hibernate, okay? Hibernation will take place when there is cold, okay? It's the time where there is shutting down to, okay, of those animals. They tend to reduce their activity and then they just remain dormant. We say it is a process of dormancy. I think that's the word. The process of dormancy. They just remain dormant, okay? Because there is what? There is scarcity of food. So when it is during the hot season or dry season, it is estivation. When it is happening during the cold weather, okay, raining season or raining weather, we call it hibernation. So you must note the difference between them. So option A says wind. Well, wind, even though strong winds can affect the animal, but it is not a factor that can lead to what? Estivation, okay? Then option, so which means option A is eliminated. Option B is drought. Drought has to do with a time when there is, dryness, there is hot weather condition, maybe there's scarcity of this. So drought actually is. So which means drought is a primary factor that can trigger estivation, okay? So of course, when there's heat, when there's hotness, what happens? There are, of course, the food that is available will be conserved. Then we have the animal begin to feel tired, and then maybe there is limited supply of water or food. Okay, so it tends to what? To conserve the energy that it has. So of course, the animal becomes dried, dried up and dehydrated. So drought, of course, is the primary, factor that can trigger estivation in animal. Rain, when we talk about rain will cause water to be available and then will cause cold. Okay, so which means that rain is available or will be a factor if it were hibernation. Okay, but this is estivation. This is also nullified and eliminated. Option D is cold. Cold will also lead to what? Hibernation. Okay, so because it's going to be wet, so this is also what? Eliminated. So the correct answer here is drought. Drought is the primary factor that can trigger estivation in animals. So the correct answer is option B, drought. Question number 84. An instrument used for measuring the intensity of light is what? We have thermometer. Thermometer is used to test for the hotness or coldness of the body. Of course, the temperature of the body. Okay, that's what thermometer is. So this one is eliminated. Option B says photometer. Yes, photometer measures the intensity, okay, the strength of what we call the electromagnetic radiation or the UV light, the different rays that we have. So the photometer, when we hear the word photo has to do with light, okay, color of light. The photometer is what measures the intensity, the strength, okay, of the EMR, that's electromagnetic radiation, the ultraviolet ray, the radio wave, and so on and so forth. So the photometer is an instrument that is used to measure the intensity of light. Option C says anemometer. Anemometer measures the speed of wind, okay, and the direction of the wind through which the wind can go to. So this is also eliminated. And hygrometer is an instrument that helps in determining or measuring the amount of the water vapor that is present in the atmosphere, in air, or the humidity, okay, that is present in air. So this also is not the answer. So the correct answer here is option B, photometer. Do you know you can take practice questions on our simulated JAMB CBT past questions? All you need to do is to click on the link in the description below that takes you to the Myschool website. There you'll be able to download the Myschool mobile app on your Androids and the Myschool software on your laptop and computer. So please go ahead and start practicing. Now let's move on to question number 85. A common component of blood and lymph is what? So the question is saying, what is common in both blood and in the lymph? Okay, we have the fats, we have the plasma, we have the red blood cell, we have the white blood cell. Actually, the white blood cell, that's WBC, is R. Okay, what is common is the common component that we can have in blood. The reason being that we have the white blood cell. Now, the white blood cell usually are produced in the marrow of the bone marrow of animals. Okay, we have the white blood cells, and what do? They help, in fighting. They have in them, okay, those white blood cells that are produced in the bone, and then we also have them present in the lymph. The lymph has in it what we call the lymphocyte. Okay, lymphocyte has the same, of course, is a type of what? Is a type of white blood cell. Okay, so in other words, we can say that the white blood cell is present in the blood. Okay, and then we call it the leukocyte, or we call it white blood cells, and then we also have it present in the lymph, okay, in form of lymphocytes. So lymphocytes are types of white blood cells that are present in the lymph, and then we have the white blood cell produced in the bone marrows of animals in the blood also. So a common, of course, the red blood cell, we can have it here in the blood, but we don't have red blood cell present in the lymph. We have the plasma, of course, that is produced, that's the yellow parts, okay, of the blood, okay, that we can have, that helps in blood clotting. Okay, we don't have it present in the two, we can have it here. Then we also have fats. Fat can also be present. So the correct answer here is option D, white blood cell. I hope you are enjoying this content. If yes, please don't forget to click on the like button, hit the subscribe button, and finally tap on the notification bell to keep you informed once we upload our next video. Now on to question number 86. The part of the kidney where the selective reabsorption takes place is called what? Reabsorption, selective reabsorption. Option A says glomerulus, okay? Option B says Bowman's capsule. Option C is Henle's loop, or the loop of Henle, and then the option D says urethra. Well, both the glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule actually helps in the production, of course, in filtering of the blood, okay, so that the waste are removed from the kidney. That's what we have, both of them. How do you define the glomerulus? In a lot of capillaries, okay, that are coiled together. If you check inside of a kidney, you see them. You have so many of those, cluster of capillaries, okay, that are that are wind together that way. That's what we call, that's how you can identify the glomerulus, okay. It is found in the kidney, and then the Bowman's capsule actually looks like a cup, something like a U-shaped cup-like, shape in the kidney, okay. So both of them actually help in filtering the blood. So when they filter the blood, the waste, that is urine, usually will be ejected out of the. So for the reabsorption, selective reabsorption usually takes place in the proximal convoluted tubules, okay, and then it takes place also in the loop of Henle, which is known as Henle's loop, okay. So we have it taking place in the Henle's loop, of course. So reabsorption or selective reabsorption in the kidney actually takes place in the Henle's loop. Option D is the urethra. Urethra is what the organ that help to ingest the urine that is produced, that is filtered off from the kidney out of the body, of course. So which means this is not responsible for selective reabsorption. Glomerulus and Bowman's capsule actually help in filtering the blood. So the Henle's loop is one of the part of the kidney, that helps in selective reabsorption. So the correct answer is option C. Now let's move on to question number 87. The sclerenchyma tissues consist of what? The sclerenchyma tissues, don't forget we have the sclerenchyma, we have the parenchyma, we have the collenchyma, okay, that are present in the plant that helps in what? Support. So we have the sclerenchyma tissues usually consist of, we have the dead cell, we have the living cell, we have the trichite cell, we have the meristematic cell. Usually the meristematic cells, we have the parenchyma cells, okay. Some of the parenchyma cells are meristematic, okay, not all of them, okay. So we have some of them present here, and parenchyma tissues usually are for the living cells, okay, are responsible for what? For the living cells. They have living cells consist in them. So we look up, when we talk about the living cells, we talk about the parenchyma tissues. Of course, this one we say some of them are parenchyma, so we have the living cells in some of them. The trichite, okay, so this is eliminated. This is also eliminated up from the option. So we have option C and option A. Option A, the trichite cell, the trichite usually are tube-like structures that are found in the stem. Of course, they are found in the xylem tissue, okay, and then we say the xylem tissue, we have them. So the trichite cell are found in the tissue. You have them, the tube-like structure that is found in the stem that helps in transporting water, okay, and minerals from the roots to the part of the trichite, and it is found in the xylem tissue. So this also is not part of it. So the correct answer now is dead cell. So sclerenchyma tissues consist of dead cell. So the correct answer is option A, dead cell. Now on to question 88. The number of vertebrae in the human vertebral column is, when we talk about vertebra, we are talking about the bones, okay, that make up the spinal cord, okay, from the neck region down to don't forget that the spinal cord is actually connected to the brain, okay. That's why we said the brain and the spinal cord actually make up the central nervous system. So how many do we have? Let's move on to the board to see the vertebrae that make up the spinal cord. We have, that's the skeletal part, okay. We have the cervical. Cervical is found at the neck region. So we have about 7 vertebrae, okay, in this neck region, the cervical. Of course, from this part now, we have it down here. If you count the ones we have there, the bones we have there, about 7 of them, okay. Then from the thoracic has to do with the chest, the vertebra at the chest region, okay. At the chest region, that's why we say the chest cavity. We have about 12 of that, okay. From this part, of course, from here to this point, we have about 7 of that. That's the cervical. Then from this part, you take it to the cavity, okay, of the chest, okay, where the chest actually ends. We have about 12 of them in number. Then the lumbar is actually found at the lower back. Okay, the lower back, this part now is the lower back region. We have about 5 of them in number, we count. And then we have the sacral. The sacral vertebrae actually is found at the base of the spine, just directly after the lower back, okay, where you can be able to help you to bend very well the spine. And then we have that, about 5 of that also in number. And then we have the caudal. The caudal is found at the tail region, or the posterior of the anus, okay. We have just about 4 of that. The question says we should find the total number, the number of vertebrae in the human vertebral column. So we can add up this. We have 7 plus 12, that's 19. 19 plus 5, that's 24. 24 plus 5, that is around 29. And 29 plus 4, that's about 33. So we have 33 of that. So let's move on to the screen now. The number of vertebrae in the human vertebral column is not 30, it's not 38, it's not 39, but 33. So the correct answer is option B. Question 89. The organisms that adopt swarming as an adaptation to overcome overcrowding are what? When we talk about swarming, it's a phenomenon. It's a process where organisms, usually it takes place in insects, okay, maybe the ants, the honeybees, they have a coordinated collective motion. They are always together, okay, and then they move, okay, in a particular pattern. You have them, so much of them having a collective motion together. We have them in ants, we have them in honeybees, we have them in termites, okay. So that's what we have. They use that to adapt to what? Overcrowding in that particular, in order to overcome overcrowding in that particular environment. So option A says a gamma lizard. No, we don't have them swarming. We don't have them much in a quantity, having a collective motion like that. No. So option A is eliminated. Option B is tilapia. You will not have them, though you can see few of them, but you don't have them in a large crowd like that. So we have rats, no, and then option D is termites, okay, like the insects. So the correct answer is option D, the termites. Question 90. Loamy soil is characterized by what? Loamy soil is characterized by, of course, we know that loamy soil comprises humus, okay, there's humus soil there. We have little of maybe sandy, just little of it mixed up. It's a mixture of almost all the types of soil that we have, okay. Of course, it's high in nutrients, okay, and then because it has characteristics of most of the soil, because it is, apart from the fact that it can give, nutrients that are needed by plants, in large quantity, okay, it has high quantity of humus in it, okay, high quantity of humus present in it. So we want to look at the characteristics of what? The loamy soil. Now option A says low humus and high porosity. Of course, low humus has disqualified this from being the answer, because, and then we have high porosity. It would have been high porosity if it were sandy soil. Sandy soil has, is highly porous, okay. The water retention is very poor. So when you pour water on the sandy soil, it is porous, it goes down easily. So loamy soil does not have this, and then it's also high in humus. So option A is actually eliminated. Option B says high humus, yes, and high porosity. No, loamy soil is not highly porous, okay, because it is not sandy soil, okay. It has high humus in it that can retain water. The water retention rate is high. So option B, this is correct, but this is not. So with this is also eliminated. Option C says moderate humus and low porosity. Of course, the humus is not moderate, it is so high, okay. So with this, now we can eliminate this, because the porosity is not also low, it has a moderate mode. So option D says high humus and moderate porosity. Yes, high humus and moderate porosity. So the correct answer here is option D. Question 91. The cone in the retina of eye is an example of what? Actually, the cone in the retina is what we call a photoreceptor cell. It's a cell, okay? It's photoreceptor. It helps, to discover the color vision, okay, and the daylight vision, okay. So it helps us, it enhances daylight vision. During the day, we can be able to see clearly. There's the cone of the retina. Then also the color vision, we can be able to see, oh, this is this color, this is the color. We can be able to decipher which color is which one and which one is appropriate to what. So it is the cone in the retina of the eye that does that, and it is a photo, because when we talk about photo, we talk about light, okay, we talk about color. So photoreceptor cell, that is what the cone in the retina of the eye is. So because the photoreceptor cell, so it's not a tissue, it's not organ, it's not system, it's a cell. So the correct answer is option A. Question 92 now. The part of the flower that develops into seed is called what? You must understand that the ovule usually is found in the ovary, okay, and the ovary in the flower. So the ovary during fertilization will now develop into seeds, okay. So in other words, the ovule that is present in the ovary is what develops after fertilization into seeds, okay. So and then at maturity, that develops into what? Into fruit. The ovary develops into fruit that now encloses the seed that we have in the flower. So the part of the flower that develops into the seed is not the pedicel, it's not the petal, it's not the stem. The pedicel is found directly underneath the stalk, where we have the stalk, not the style, not the petals. Those are part of the flower that are opened directly, okay. But the ovule is found inside of the ovary, okay, that at fertilization, eventually turns into the seed, okay, that we have, and then the seed eventually, the ovary, at maturity stage, develops into the fruit that encloses the seed. So the correct answer here is option A, ovule. Question 93. Which of these is a medium of transportation in plants? When we talk about transportation, we are talking about movement of water, movement of nutrients, okay, from the roots, maybe to the part of the other part, to the leaf, to the branches, to the stem, to other parts of the plant. Okay, and usually we know that the xylem and the phloem are the medium of transportation, okay, in the plant, the xylem and the phloem. And in the xylem and the phloem, that is where we have the cell sap. Okay, the cell sap is what is responsible for movement of water and that in the xylem and the phloem tissue. Okay, we have them present in there. So the cell sap, not the nucleus. Of course, the nucleus is found in the cell, okay, of the plant cell. We have them present there, the mitochondria. We have the, of course, this directs all the most of the activities that are carried out. We have the mitochondria, of course. Mitochondria has to do with the powerhouse, okay, of the cell, of the plant cell, okay. And then we have the ribosome, which is responsible for synthesis of protein, okay, in the plant. So the cell sap is a cell. That is what is responsible for transportation of water and minerals in the xylem and the phloem tissue. So the correct answer is option A. Now to question number 94. Which of the following is a viral disease? When we say viral disease, that is caused by virus, okay? Viruses. So which of the following is a viral disease? We have syphilis, we have measles, we have cholera, we have typhoid. Usually we know that typhoid is a bacterial infection, okay? Bacteria, we call it typhoid fever, okay? Typhoid fever that is caused by what we call the bacteria is Salmonella typhi. Either we call it Salmonella typhi or Salmonella paratyphi. Okay, those are the microorganisms, the bacteria that is responsible for causing typhoid. Okay, and when you go, they say you are conducting a viral test. Okay, so that is a bacterial, disease, not a viral disease. Cholera also is, a bacterial, disease from cholerae. Okay. Usually when you have maybe water or food that is infected, that is exposed, maybe from contaminated water or contaminated food, you can have cholera from that. So it's a bacterial infection, bacterial disease causes it, okay? We talk about the measles. Measles, usually, of course, we have it coming out, we have the symptoms, we have some lumps, maybe on the face and body of the infected person, okay? That actually is a viral disease. It is caused by the virus, okay? Measles, chickenpox. And then we have option A, syphilis. Syphilis is also a bacterial, disease, a bacterial. So option A is bacterial, option C is bacterial, option D is also a bacterial disease. But the only viral disease here is the measles. So the correct answer is option B. Do you have any question bothering your mind at all on all that we have done so far? Please feel free to ask your questions. All you need to do is to click on the link in the description below that takes you to the Myschool website. There you'll be able to ask your questions and solutions will be provided within the shortest period of time. Now let's move on to question number 95. We have a diagram here, and from this diagram we're asked to answer the question that follows. And the question says the experiment is set up to determine the presence of what? Of course, we have option A, chlorophyll, we have starch, we have oxygen pigment. If you look at this experiment very well, we have a Bunsen burner here. Okay, this is the water, and then we have, the leaf here being decolored. There's a leaf that is inside of this experiment. Okay, when you apply it, the water gets hot in order to decolorize, and then to render the cells, okay, placid of the leaf. And then you have also inside of this the test tube. Of course, it is being applied. You put in your leaf into that, okay, and then once you apply the heat, it does what? It boils it parboiled, not fully boiled. We have the parboiled, and then we have the leaf is brought out from here, and then on it we apply this. What is applied here is iodine solution. When you apply iodine solution on it here, what happens eventually becomes what? It gives a blue-black coloration, okay? Of course, which shows the tendency of what? Of the presence of starch. So in carrying out the test for starch, okay, what we do is we react that parboiled leaf with iodine, and it gives a blue-black coloration or a blue-brown coloration. So the experiment is set up to determine the presence of option A says chlorophyll, no. Option B says starch, yes. Option D says oxygen, option D says pigment. Okay, so the correct answer here is option B, starch. Do you have better steps or better explanations to some of these questions, all these questions we have solved so far? Please feel free to share. All you need to do is to go to the comment section, indicate the question number and the solution you wish to share. Question number 96. The type of circulatory system found in arthropods and some mollusks is what? Option A says open circulatory system. In an open circulatory system, what happens is that the blood is being pumped straight from the heart to the part of the body that is in there. There are no tubes, there are no vessels. The blood does not have to flow from the heart to tubes, to tubes, to vessels for it to convey to the part of the body. Straight from the heart, blood is pumped to the part of the body. You have that kind of system, open circulatory system, taking place in the arthropods, in the snails, the mollusks. Okay, you have them present in that kind of system that is being operated in the arthropods and in the mollusks. In option B, we have closed circulatory system. In a closed circulatory system, we have the blood, okay, flowing from the heart, through the tubes, through the veins, okay, to the parts of the body where they are required. It doesn't form unlike this one, that the blood has to pump from the heart straight up to the part of the body. But this one has to flow from veins, through tubes that are connected to each other. Okay, so this kind of system, of course, we can find it in all mammals. All mammals actually have this, and we have the fishes also having it. That's in option C. We have a single circulatory system. In a single circulatory system, is a system where the blood will pass through the heart just once, okay, in every circuit. It passes through the heart just once in every circuit. It doesn't have to pass through it again before it moves. So that is a single circulatory system. The blood passes through the heart in just one time, just once in every circuit, in a single circuit that it makes. This kind of system, of course, we can find them in amphibians. Okay, we have them in some fishes too. Yes, the fishes also have this kind of system. And option D, double circulatory system, just like the single. Double circulatory, the blood we have to flow through the heart, okay, twice. Okay, not just one. It flows through the heart, then it's connected and flows twice before it is sent to the body. So that is a double circulatory. We can have this in humans, of course. In mammals, mammals have this system. So we can have a double circulatory system. It's practiced in men, in humans, okay, and some other fishes. So the question says the type of circulatory system found in arthropods and some mollusks is open circulatory system. So the correct answer is option A. Let's move on to question number 97. In plants, the main excretory product produced during metabolism is what? Don't forget, when we talk about metabolism process can be all the activities that take place in living organisms, whether they are anabolic or whether they are catabolic. When we talk about anabolism is a building up process, okay, that takes place in living organism. And when we talk about catabolism is a breaking down process, like we talk about respiration, okay, that takes place in living organisms. Those are the two types of metabolism that we can have. But we are talking about the main excretory products now that is produced during metabolism in plants. In plants is no other. We have oxygen. Oxygen usually, okay, is produced. It's also an excretory product, okay, that is produced. But this takes place in photosynthesis. Don't forget, carbon dioxide will react with water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll to give what? The sugar that is produced, the food, the starch, then plus what? Plus oxygen that is being given off. O2 is being given off. We have 6 moles of oxygen that is being given off in the process of photosynthesis. So that makes it to be an excretory product, okay? But this takes place in photosynthesis, okay? Then for B, we have alkaloids, okay? Alkaloids, usually, because we are talking about, it's also an excretory product, but we are talking about what? The main excretory product, okay? Carbon dioxide, yes, is the main excretory products that can go on, that can be released, okay, by plants during the metabolic process, and then we have the mucilage. So the correct answer here is option C, carbon dioxide. Question number 98. Use the diagram above to answer the questions that follow. Of course, you have to identify this diagram. Yes, you can see this is a fetus here. This is a fetus. We have fetus. We have here label 1. We have part 2. So of course, this is a pregnant, okay, the cross section of a pregnant woman. Okay, this is the womb. This is the stomach. You can see the baby here that is grown already. We have the. Let's look at a more clearer diagram to be able to explain this. Then we'll come back to answer this question. So we have the fetus developing in the uterus. Okay, this is what happens here. You can see here we have the fallopian tube at this part and at this point. Now the fallopian tube is what actually connects the ovary, okay, in the woman, usually where the eggs are being released, the ova is being released for fertilization to take place. When the sperm cell is released into a woman, the sperm cell goes straight to the ovary, okay, where the egg that is matured is being manufactured. So what happens is that the fallopian tube is actually what connects the, you can see now, connects the ovary. The ovary is at this point. At this point, we don't have it in this point now, where the egg is being born. So inside of this now, we have the baby is formed already, and you can see that it is growing. Okay, we have the umbilical cord. Umbilical cords actually connect the placenta, okay, to the baby, because all the nutrients that we taken in when the mother takes in food, takes in the water, and all those nutrients that are needed by the baby, it comes in. You can see that through the placenta, you have it coming in here into. So the umbilical cord, we have it here, connects the baby to the what? To the placenta, okay, where we have that. Then we have the uterus here at this point, and then we have the fetus. That's the baby that is undergoing what good, that is going up in it. And then we have the amniotic fluid. Amniotic fluid is what surrounds the baby. We have the fluid there, okay, and then we have the amnion. Amnion here is just this sac here that envelopes the baby. So we have the fallopian tube. Another name that the fallopian tube is called is oviduct, because in exam, the examiner might not know that if they put a fallopian tube here, you might easily just, okay, this looks like a tube, then you pick that. They can use it to come, they can say oviduct. So oviduct and fallopian tube are actually the same. We are going to see that in that question. We don't have fallopian tube there, but there was oviduct there. So let's move on to the options we have, so we can pick the correct answer. So you can see here, this is the part labeled I, that is our fallopian tube, which is the oviduct. We have this part now, which is the what? The placenta, okay, of the baby. We have it at that connects by, and this is the umbilical cord. We saw that in the diagram. And then this is the amnion, okay, this is the amnion. You can see the bag here, the amnion, the house sits the child, that is the amnion. And then we have here, we have the cervix, where we have the uterus eventually coming up. So the question says the part labeled I is what? The part labeled I, this is this part now, okay, that is what? The fallopian tube. Option A says oviduct, placenta, amnion, and uterus. Like I said earlier on, there is no fallopian tube here. So the examiner wants to test you if you know the other name by which fallopian tube is being called, okay, which is no other name than oviduct. So here is fallopian tube, or we call it oviduct. So option A, oviduct, is the correct answer. Placenta, we can see the placenta here is II. The option C is the amnion, which is this, and then the uterus, we have that. So the correct answer here is option A, oviduct. Question 99. Comparative anatomy to study evidence of evolution depends on what? When we talk about comparative anatomy, we want to compare the physical structures, okay, of the parts of an organism that looks alike, similar, yes, that evolved maybe over the years that were evolved, is one of the evidences of what? Of evolution, okay. They have the same, but they have what? They have what? So one, they have similarities, okay, the structures, yes, even though they are in different organisms. So we compare them. That's why we have the comparative anatomy. What to study the evidence for evolution depends on what? Usually we look at the pentadactyl forelimbs, okay, of organism. Pentadactyl, when we talk about pentadactyl has to do with 5 digits of the what? Of the forelimb of different animals. We have the 4-fingered, we have 3-fingered, we have 2-fingered, we have 5-fingered. Let's look at the diagram that shows the pentadactyl forelimb of different organisms now in this diagram. So you can see here we have humans here. So this is the forelimb, like our hand. Now you can have this, the skeleton. You have 1, you have 2, you have 3, you have 4, you have 5. So we have about 5 different digits, about five bones here that make up this forelimb. Now that's why we call it pentadactyl in humans. Now I want to compare it. That's why it's comparative anatomy. Compare it with the skeleton of another organism. This is a dog now. This is a dog here. So the 4 limbs that it has here, you can see if you count this, the digits we have, you will find that we have 1, there we have 2, we have 3, we have 4, and then we have 5. So the dog also has about 5 digits, pentadactyl 4 limb also, like human, though it is different, okay, but they have the same number and then they have the same function. Then I look at that of bats. This is a bat, of course, this is the wing of the bat. We remember that bats are mammals, okay? They are not birds, okay? So we have that. Let's look at them. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4, we have 5. That's another 5 digits, okay? You can see 4 limbs of the bat. And then we have the one for dolphin. Dolphin, okay, we have that is 1, that is 2, that is 3, that is 4, that is 5. So we have about 5 digits. We call them pentadactyl 4 limb, okay? It's an evidence, okay, for evolution in organisms. So we have for human, we have it here, we have for dog, we have bat, we have dolphin, and so on and so forth. So let's move on back to the options so we can pick the correct answer. So like we just saw now, we saw about 5 digits, okay, 5 fingers. So option A says 4 fingered, option B says 3 fingered, option C says 2 fingered, option D says 5 fingered, which is the what? The pentadactyl 4 limb of that. So it is a comparative anatomy. It shows the study, the evidence of what? Evolution is a comparative. We have to compare the structures of that 4 limb of all the organisms that we looked at. So the correct answer is option D, 5 fingered. Now let's move on to question 100. Iron is an essential nutrient in plants because it was. Don't forget that iron is one of the major components, okay, in chlorophyll. And we know that chlorophyll is present in the chloroplast. And chloroplast is present in green plants, okay, usually in the plant cell. And what it does is to help or to aid the what? The rate of what? Photosynthesis. Green plants manufacture their food in the presence of carbon dioxide or carbon dioxide and water, okay, using carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and what? And chlorophyll, okay, to give us the food and then the oxygen that is being produced. So the iron, Fe, of course, that's the symbol for that element. It is a vital element that helps in synthesizing and then helps in the formation of chlorophyll. Of course, it's also necessary in formation of amino acids that we have from proteins. So option A says aids in the formation of chlorophyll and proteins. Yes, helps in cell division, helps protects the plants, okay, from pest attack, fasting fruit maturation. When you say fasting fruit maturation, we are talking about the ethylene, okay, that helps in the fruit ripening, okay, of that. So the correct answer here, iron is an essential nutrient in plants because it aids in the formation of chlorophyll and proteins. Chlorophyll and proteins. So the correct answer is option A. I believe you enjoyed this content because I really did solve those questions. If yes, please don't forget, click on the like button, hit the subscribe button, and finally tap on the notification bell to keep you informed once we upload our next video.